Hi everyone. Today we are going to be discussing 5 signs that you've achieved inner union in your twin flame connection. So I am really manifesting that this video finds twin flames who have been on this journey for a while and have begun to notice recently that something has shifted in a big way. This shift may have occurred in the last few weeks, months, or even years as of when you find this video, because the thing about coming into inner union as a twin flame is that it doesn't happen all at once, and it's really not a linear process. It's not something that you can map out steps for and then follow those steps in like a linear fashion to achieve union. It's actually a process of coming home to ourselves. It's a journey of inner rebalancing and self-love more than anything else that brings us back to our core frequency within and helps us to radiate that frequency uninhibited without any of those layers of programming that we pick up artificially from society. It brings us back to the frequency of unconditional love because that is our core energy and frequency beneath everything else. And so when you've achieved inner union as a twin flame, what this means is that you've fully rebalanced the energy between yourself and your twin spiritually and in the energetic realm. And inner union really is an entirely energetic process. It's something that happens within us. And yes, if you are a twin flame, this means that you're on this conscious journey with the knowingness that there is another being, another soul, another physically incarnated human in most cases, although not all cases. Some people connect with their twin flames in 5D, but there's this other soul that carries an identical core soul frequency to your own. And you have this awareness consciously of that as a twin flame for the purpose of helping you to tune yourself more clearly to that core frequency within yourself. And of course, for your twin flame to do the same on their end. Now, physical union can manifest in many different ways, shapes, and forms, and it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of ordeal. There are some twin flames that I call merging twin flames who choose to be in a very traditional, conventional looking physical union in the 3D that models traditional romantic relationship or looks very similar on the surface and yet is very rare because it carries the frequency of unconditional love. And so it's actually re-templating those traditional forms of romantic relationship through holding the twin flame energy in a traditional romantic relationship kind of bond. In other cases, such as in the case of monadic twin flames, which I actually deeply describe and go into monadic twin flames in a video that I am going to be posting after this one, I believe. I don't know the exact order of when I'm posting these, but it will be posted around this time. So if you do want to stay tuned for that video, be sure to check back on the channel if it's not posted yet, because I just channeled a lot of new information about monadic twin flames, and monadic twin flames have a very rare path where they are much more independent in the physical, and yet they are connected to their twin flame energetically, as is, of course, the case in all twin flame connections. There's always that energetic connection. But for monadic twin flames, as opposed to merging twin flames, they do not have the desire to come together in a traditional, full-blown, conventional-looking romantic relationship. So their physical manifestation of union may look very different. They may have no contact in the physical. They may have some level of contact or interaction or, anything in between. But again, your own soul and your own core soul desires speak to what kind of blueprint or pathway you carry personally for your twin flame connection. No form of union is superior to the other, but there are different forms depending on your unique blueprint with your twin flame, the contract that you share, the purpose that you hold here on the planet. And so I wanted to do this video because regardless of how that physical union looks in the 3D, the energy has to be established first. It's actually, when we talk about union is an energy thing. It's something that happens energetically, and then it can manifest in a myriad of balanced, harmonious, beautiful ways physically, if that is what you desire. But it's something, a state of being that has to be accomplished internally before it can manifest in any kind of way physically. And so today I want to talk about the 5 signs that you've already achieved this inner state of union, because often it kind of sneaks up on you as a twin flame. You are peeling back the layers, you're healing your inner child, you're going deeper into connecting with your own core frequency, you're coming more into your purpose, whatever that looks like for you. And then suddenly you wake up one day and you feel like something has shifted. And again, it doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually. But you wake up one day and you realize that you are speaking your truth with more confidence and clarity, that you're holding your boundaries more strongly, that you are waking up more peaceful, that you are feeling apathetic towards old patterns and dynamics that used to trigger you. And you begin to realize, wait a second, something has changed. I feel like I am approaching my life, even like my twin flame path, my spiritual journey entirely differently because of this change. And often that is this inner union that you've come into, which is essentially, again, a union with the self. And specifically, and I know I've given some spoilers because we've already talked a little bit, we've brushed on some of the signs that you've come into inner union, but I want to say first, these are not, of course, the only signs. There are so many signs that we could talk about. These are the first 5 that I felt channeling through as I was really leaning into this topic today. So I feel like these are the signs that will connect the most with those of you who are finding and relating to this video. But the first sign is that you've balanced your internal divine masculine and divine feminine. And that is what I meant when I said that you've come into union with yourself. Yourself meaning your internal divine masculine aspect, your internal divine feminine aspect. Because while we often label ourselves as either the divine feminine or the divine masculine, especially within the twin flame community, because most people do carry a more dominant polarity in one direction, while we label ourselves that way, we actually all have both energies within us. It's just that one tends to be more dominant and often more like visibly manifested. So often as a twin flame initially, we are coming, well, essentially twin flames are coming together in the heart space from separate ends of the chakra system. So often one is who considers themselves the divine feminine is coming more so from the crown chakra down. So the divine feminine often feels, especially early in life, as though they are very spiritually connected, very intuitive, very sensitive to energies, often very emotional because they are sensitive to energies. And in early life, often unconscious to why they are so emotional, not even realizing it's because they're so spiritually gifted and connected. And so that is often the early experience of the divine feminine. And as a result of this, the divine feminine often goes through experiences where she has a wounded internal masculine that means that while she's very spiritually connected and in tune, it can be difficult early on to be positively assertive, to stand up for herself, to set boundaries, to clearly communicate herself to others, to like put her ideas confidently across in the world, to protect herself and to create structure around her creativity, her visions, her goals, her dreams, all of those things. And so as a divine feminine, you will know that you've balanced your internal masculine and feminine because your inner masculine is healing. Your inner masculine begins to show up for you almost like an internal father figure in a way, where your internal masculine will help you to create stability in your life, to create, for example, like routines or structures or things in your life that support you so that you can create on a deeper level so that you can connect even more with your own divinity. And you'll start doing this for yourself, setting your own boundaries, protecting your time, your space, your energy, confidently communicating yourself instead of needing to rely on an external masculine figure to do those things for you. Now, as a divine masculine, you will know that you've balanced your internal masculine and feminine because you're coming at things from the opposite angle. So the experience of a divine masculine early in life, coming from the root chakra up to the heart, is often that they are really programmed to be very focused on physical successes, accolades, these external markers of validation. And often the masculine is taught to shove down any emotions or feelings that they may be feeling or having, and to focus entirely on what's happening in the physical and to derive their entire sense of worth and validation from those things. And that is like the wounded masculine state. But essentially the reason they're wounded is because their masculine is so dominant that it's clouding out their inner feminine. So they often lose touch with their heart, with their emotions, with their more spiritual side. And so this journey for the wounded masculine would be coming back up into the heart, where they are connecting and opening their heart space and feeling their emotions, which often for the masculine is a very intense experience initially. But the beautiful thing is they then begin to learn to balance this ability to structure and to lead and to take action. They begin to learn to also listen to the energy behind things and to connect and tap into their heart space and to leverage that kind of spiritual, emotional energy within themselves to lead and to thrive to an even greater degree. And they learn to actually connect with their own emotional experience rather than using an external feminine as a bridge to connect with themselves emotionally. And so they come into this place where they are able to and not afraid to feel all of their own emotions and to process all of that, but also to then take action and to become this balanced leader, a leader that is not only tapped into the physical realm and taking those action steps, but who is also tapped into the energetic realm and connected to their own heart. And so this is essentially how, as a masculine or a feminine, you will know that you've come into that inner union. You've unified your internal masculine and your internal feminine within yourself. And I would say that above all else, this is the number one sign that you've come into union within. And I would say many of these other signs are actually a result of the number one sign. So what I mean by that is, for example, sign number 2 is you're no longer feeling the urge to chase external validation from the opposite polarity. So what I mean by that is, as a feminine, for example, you in your healed, balanced, unified state, when you come into inner union, you no longer feel the urge to chase external validation from the masculine. And I'm not just talking romantically, although of course, yes, romantically as well. You no longer feel the need to receive romantic external validation from any kind of masculine, but even, for example, from a father figure, from like a boss at work, from even society, because a lot of societal ways of thinking are very like masculine charged, although that is shifting with the awakening of the divine feminine. But you're not even seeking validation like in general from society externally. And as a divine masculine, you are no longer, if you're a masculine, seeking this kind of like external validation from the feminine to feel stabilized, to feel supported, because you're no longer, I would say, actually, let's reword this. As the divine feminine, this number 2 sign would mean that you're no longer seeking external validation from the masculine. As a divine masculine, you're no longer seeking to utilize the feminine as a bridge to your own spirituality, a bridge to your own inner guidance, a bridge to your own internal processing. So depending on which polarity you identify more with, that will be your sign. As the masculine, you are no longer seeking to utilize the divine feminine as this bridge. And as the divine feminine, you're no longer seeking to utilize the divine masculine as this validation externally, because you found that within yourself. So essentially that is evidence that you've accomplished number one, that you have internally unified your masculine and your feminine, because you're no longer seeking for it externally. Now, as a result of that, because you're no longer chasing or seeking, it's interesting how these signs progress. I didn't realize when I was writing them down, but I guess it was like some form of channeling, because they're progressing in an interesting way. It's like leading into each other. Because number 3 is, because you're no longer feeling this urge to chase external validation or to utilize the feminine as this bridge, you're actually able to pour more energy internally into yourself and your mission, because you're not creating these tethers through needing this external bridge or needing this external validation. So you're actually able to pour more pure focus and energy into yourself, whatever that means for you, into your purpose, into your mission, into bettering yourself, however this is showing up for you. And as a result of number 3, shifting to number 4, you will begin to notice a newfound level of magnetism, because people will be able to sense that you've reverse engineered this equation that so few people ever figure out. Essentially, most people in the world, even people who are living, let's say, more unconsciously or choosing less of a conscious life as a soul, people who may not be on a twin flame journey, really most people just in general are, without even realizing it, in these codependent bonds with others, where they are pouring a lot of their life force, their time, their energy into other people or things that they're trying to receive something back from, that they need in order to balance themselves internally, because they haven't learned how to come into that wholeness within themselves. So once you balance your internal masculine and feminine, you become more magnetic, because people can sense that you're no longer just pouring that energy outwards. You're like preserving it and conserving it and pouring it back into yourself. And you will begin to notice, even when you're out in public, that people may look at you more often or want to interact with you more, or you may notice, like in a higher sense, that you are beginning to attract in more opportunities or more good things into your life. You're noticing this positive magnetism about yourself, because the very fabric of the universe is responding to the fact that you've found this completeness, this wholeness, this unified state within yourself. So you're emitting an entirely different frequency. You're emitting the frequency of one who is secure within themselves, which I guess could be a little bit of a side note. I didn't list this as a sign, but you will naturally have a more secure attachment style in traditional therapy terms. You'll be able to attach in a secure way, even if you come from a background in the past of having an avoidant or an anxious attachment style, which often, not always, but often the wounded feminine will have an anxious attachment style and the wounded masculine will have an avoidant attachment style. But when you begin attaching in a more secure way, this is just like a little bonus sign. That is a major sign spiritually that you've balanced your internal masculine and feminine, because again, you've sourced what you need from the opposite polarity internally, which in turn gives you the opportunity to be able to actually connect in with relationships and even friendships and opportunities that you are connecting with from a space of mutual balance and wholeness. Now, as a result of this, and this is just another little bonus sign, you may actually find yourself repulsed by people, things, or connections that are still trying to connect with you codependently, because you found that wholeness within yourself. So you just naturally no longer have an attraction to connecting with people in a way that is very entangling and very codependent, because you are really beginning to only desire things and connections that can meet you in your wholeness. And on a deeper level, you're really beginning to understand the value of being in that state of wholeness, and you're not willing to compromise that for anyone or anything. Just a couple little bonus signs there. But number 5 is you feel a deep sense of pervasive inner peace. Now, of course, nothing here is like linear. We're never done growing, evolving, or transforming. And of course, you can have achieved this inner union and still have moments or days where you're feeling more doubtful or more turbulent. That is just part of the human experience. But what I mean here is you begin to notice a trend towards greater and greater peace. You begin to notice that you are feeling more of a sense of calm and assuredness and stability and like this just deep confidence within yourself that is stemming from that place of wholeness, that is actually coming energetically from the fact that you've balanced your internal masculine and feminine aspects. So again, this list is by no means comprehensive. These are just 5 signs, some of which I don't hear talked about as frequently, that I really wanted to share with you. I feel most of you listening this far have listened this far because deep down you've known for a while that you've already come into this inner union within yourself. So this video may just be your sign of confirmation of that. Now, as I have been channeling into all of this, I've been feeling really inspired to create a new subliminal that is directly connected to this. So I'm going to be creating a subliminal that is, I don't know what I'm going to title it exactly yet, but it's going to be something like inner union or balance your internal masculine and feminine or something of that nature. And as the title suggests, it is going to be designed to help you to continuously maintain that state of balance. I know that many of you are already there, but whether you're there or not, this is going to help you come into and maintain that state of internal wholeness and balance where you are attracting from your wholeness, where you are keeping yourself in this place of having balanced your internal masculine with your internal feminine and experiencing all of the benefits of positively attracting from that place of wholeness. So again, whether you are still getting there and not feeling quite there, or whether you are currently there, I am intending that this subliminal will support you in either achieving or maintaining that state of balance between those 2 aspects of yourself so that you can attract from that highest place of your own wholeness. So by the time I release this video, I will have that subliminal available in my app. And for those of you who don't yet have the app, the name of it is Sound and Soulful, and you can find it just by searching in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, but I'll also leave a link to it in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video as well. And I'm really excited about this particular subliminal because I feel like this is going to be so powerful for so many of us on this pathway of internally rebalancing ourselves, maintaining this state of wholeness, and this essentially it's a union state within ourselves. So there's so much more to talk about this, about so many related topics. If anything has popped into your mind that you'd like to hear more about, any video topic ideas or anything of that nature, you can always let me know in the comments section. And I'm going to leave things here, but I hope you have a beautiful day and I will connect with you again in the next video.